Hey guys, can you hear me? Let's see if I
Hey
can open
Kyle,
up.
everybody should be on that's on, and some attendees are muted, but you should be good to go. We can see your screen at this point in time.
All right, great. And we'll use the chat feature if anybody has any questions.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, good morning, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Happy Wednesday to you. So today we're going to dig into designs. So I like to be interactive, and I'm going to walk you all the way through designs, some different tricks and tips on how to use it. So let's go ahead and use that chat feature if anybody wants to ask questions as we go throughout the process. We can go ahead and do that. All right. So we're going to go ahead and start in command. I think always a good starting point is just to point out the URL in case we have any new users with us today. So the URL is going to be agent.kw.com. Go ahead and log in with your KW username and password. All right, so what you're going to do is on the left-hand side over here, you have these applets. The one we're going to focus on today is this one that's a little bit of an easel, which is designs, okay? And this is just a quick little tip here. If you click on the red KW logo up top, the white logo on the red background, it'll actually punch out all the different names of the applications. So you can do this until you get a good grasp of all the different names and what the logos are. And then once you do, you click the button and it'll drop it right back in again. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and go over to designs and open up the designs applet. All right, now when I open up this screen here, it may look a little bit different if you are following along at home with me. All right, so when I pull up designs here, I have saved designs in the background. So this is what these designs are here. Some people come and they go, hey, this should be the library. I'm missing designs. That's not necessarily true. Okay, these are all different designs that I have created, and that's why we're seeing them here. As long as it says my design templates, you have this header up top here that says email, landing page, social, print, agent, site, then you know you're in the right spot. Okay, so that's just where we get started. That's click number one. So only a few clicks, that's click number one. The second thing we're going to do to create a new marketing material is in the bottom right-hand corner down here, we have this little plus symbol. All right, so it's a little bit different. A lot of things in command we create new by clicking on the top right-hand side, right? So there's usually create opportunity or create a contact. In designs, it's in the bottom right-hand corner. It's this little plus sign. Now, I've heard that some people have trouble seeing this plus sign. If you're using a smaller computer, it might be because you are zoomed in on the view of your browser. So if you try to zoom out, hopefully that plus sign is there. And what you're going to do is you're going to click that plus sign. It's going to pop up, and we get this little pop-up box here. So it says template type. Do you want it to be an no, excuse me. Do we want it to be an email, social print, or social marketing piece, or print marketing? So email, as many of you guys know, is not fully functioning inside command just yet. There are some email applications like MailChimp that you can connect to command if you have a paid MailChimp account and use this functionality. But for the sake of this call, we're going to focus on social and print marketing. Okay, so you have to select which one you're trying to do at this point, because then when you go into the libraries, that's what you're going to see. So let's talk about what they are. Social. This would be any of your online social media marketing. So these are going to be things like Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, but anything that's basically digital. Okay, so think of it that way. Anything that's digital is going to be on the social side. And then over here on the print side, this is where we're going to see things like door hangers, postcards, property flyers. So if you click on social and you're trying to create a postcard, you're not going to see postcards in that library. You have to come back out here and you're going to start here. All right, so social or print. The last thing I want to point out here is you have an import photos and text from a listing button here. What this is that command as a whole, right, is attached into the MLS and the KWLS. And so we can actually try to find your listing, and instead of having to upload your photos from your desktop or from your iCloud storage, we might be able to actually suck the photos right in from the MLS, as well as some of the text like property descriptions, addresses, things of that nature here. Okay, so if I click on social or print, let's do social to start. If I just click create design, I can bypass selecting a listing. All right, but if I want to select a listing here, I could select this box and I could then click on create design. All right, so remember, I'm on social, create design. And then I get a little box that pops out here that is for the listings. Now, when we're done here, I'm going to stop and take a couple questions. There's a lot of questions revolving around my listings in command, right? I can't find them. How long do they take to get here? So let's talk on that for just a second. So over here, it defaults to all listings right now, but for some of you guys, it may default to only my listings. This little drop-down box over here. So if you're on only my listings, you may not see your listings here. The reason is that we're having an issue with the MLS IDs matching up to your KW IDs. And so under this tab, oftentimes we are getting 0 search results. Now, some people, this is working, okay? But what I want you to try to do is, the little bit of a hack here is if you have a live listing, it typically takes about 24 to 48 hours to get your listing to show up in this space here. Now, I want you to know that if your listing is not here, that doesn't prohibit you from using the designs section of command. You can upload photos. So this is kind of just an easy button, right? But it doesn't, if it's not here, don't think you can't use this section of command. So I'm going to go to all listings, right? So go to all listings. You're going to see all listings in all different areas pop up. And then I can search by property address. That's the best that I've found. So I can go and I'll type in 404 Dale Road, right? So this is property that I own. Go to 404 Dale Road. Now I can find it, and here it is right here. So 404 Dale Road. This was sold by a Keller Williams agent in the Maryland region. All right, but here's the listing. Sometimes if it's a common name, you need to continue to type out the state, the city, and the zip code so that you can find it, right? But once I find the listing here, this should be your name, right? If you're doing marketing for your listing. But I want you to notice here, I can actually, if I'm holding an open house for somebody, or they have given me permission to market their property, I don't need them to share their Dropbox account or send me an email with photos. I could hopefully go in here and type in the address, and because I have access to all different people's listings here, that's what I see right here. Okay, so I can select now, this is my listing. This could be an active listing. In this case, it is an older listing. So you should be able to find listings here for not only just listed, you should also be able to find things here for just sold. They should be here. Okay, so I see 404 Dale Road. I'm then going to go ahead and click on select. Now I selected the listing. Nothing really happens. So some people get caught up here because they say, hey, I just selected a listing, but I don't think it took, right? Because it just comes to this next screen here. It did take, right? It did work, and I'll show you when we actually go to create a marketing material what, where you can pull up your photos and how that's going to work. All right, so let's go ahead and stop here for just a second, and we'll take some questions just basically on starting, how you create a design, selecting either the social or the print side, and then selecting a listing. So any questions on that before we dig into this next step, which is actually selecting the marketing piece you want to create?
And Kyle, anybody can speak at this point in time once they unmute themselves. So they can talk or they can raise their hand and write a question.
All right, perfect. So I think you guys can hear me again. I think I've been unmuted. So let's keep rolling. Okay. If that's not the case, go ahead and chat in the message with me. All right. So the next step here is, again, let's recap where we are, right? So all we did was click on the designs. We clicked on social. We selected our listing, and it brought us here to this screen. So on this screen, on the left-hand side over here, these are different categories of marketing materials that you can create. I may have a few extra because I'm in leadership with KW. So depending on what your different subscriptions are with like KWYP, luxury, you may see some different materials over here. Now you have things like just listed, just sold, for sale. I also want to point out you have things like event invitations. You have things like open house, price update, under contract. So not everything in here is property specific is what I'm saying, okay? So the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna say, okay, what type of material do I wanna create? So let's say we wanna create a for sale. All right, so we wanna create a for sale marketing piece. When I click on for sale, it shows me that there's 145 pieces that I could create. And up top here, it shows me that there's Facebook, Instagram stories, LinkedIn, and Twitter. Right, so the reason is that all of these social media networks use a different size for their marketing piece, okay? Different size for their marketing piece. So Facebook is a little more rectangular. If I click on Instagram, right, it's more square. And you guys, if you're users of these social media networks, you know that as you're scrolling through those different social media networks. Instagram stories take up the entire screen of your phone, so they're much longer. Then you have LinkedIn and you have Twitter over here. All right, so step one, select the type of marketing material you want to create. Step two is then going to come over here and say, all right, I want to go ahead and create a Facebook ad for my for sale listing. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to select one of these marketing pieces. So let's go ahead and select this one right here. Right, so there's a lot of them in here. What KWRI is doing, guys, is they're watching us. What are we using for marketing materials? If we're not using different ones in here, they're just going to retire them and they're going to bring new ones in. Right, so they know what we're using. So so I can go in here and say, okay, great, I like the look of this one. Remember, this is just a template. Once I click use here, now I'm going to customize it. So I'll click use, and now this opens up an editing tool that is very similar to an editing tool like Canva, if anyone's ever used that to create their marketing materials. So it takes a little bit getting used to. My suggestion is you really should jump on here and just play with it a little bit. All right, as it loads up here, you got to figure out how to click on the text boxes, how to draw things, how to move things around. You just got to make sure you kind of figure out the mouse clicks, because there's a lot going on this screen. There's a lot of things overlaying over top of each other. So sometimes you feel like you're grabbing something and instead you're missing it. Okay, so just wanted to go ahead and point that out. So here's what we're looking at. Here's our screen. All right, here's our screen here. So we have the graphic. All of this is editable on here. So for sale, street name, you can see a little bit faintly maybe as I hover over top of it, it's actually going to allow me to click on it, and I can change the name of this graphic. So one thing I want to point out is, even though this is a for sale postcard, if I like the look and the design of this material for whatever reason, for this Facebook graphic, I could change this, right? I could say I want this to be a just listed postcard, and I could come in here and I could just change the text. Now, I want you to notice, right, when I clicked on a fourth letter, it extended, right? So that doesn't look great, but I can drag and drop on this text box just like you can with anything else, right? So I can actually drag and drop in this text box. I can draw it out further, right? I can delete the entire text box. So all of this is fully editable, and I'm going to delete these text boxes to show you something else, okay? Now, down here, it's kind of hidden. Bottom left-hand corner, there's a little button down here that says Add to Library. All right, everybody see that? It says Add to Library. All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to click on this Add to Library button, and this is where you can go in one time and put in your headshots, right, and your text and your logos. So you have the opportunity to upload at least 4 images or headshots of maybe you or your team. You also have the ability to upload up to 4 logos of your team, and that way they're living within this little library while you're creating your different marketing materials. Okay, so that's step number 1. That way they're always there waiting for you, and you can just go grab them, right? So in order to do that, just to go back in real quick, is bottom left-hand corner, click on Add to Library. All right. So that's why when you see it here, we have 5 tabs on the left-hand side. This is the same on both social and print. We have images, text, we have logos, icons, and KWLS. All right, so because it says images here, that's why you see it. It's images is the tab. That's why this is all in gray. And then my library. So I only have one photo that's uploaded here. There's also stock photos for the company. So if I click on company, click on stock photos here, there's a whole bunch of KW stock photos that I could use and drag and drop into this different marketing piece, right? And in addition to that, I can also add right here, I can upload any photo that I want, right? So it says drag and drop an image here. So if we can't find our listing in that first step, just remember you can drag and drop any photos here. So let's say you're doing a coming soon marketing piece, right? So it's not listed anywhere yet. It's not in the MLS for you to pull. You can just go and click on drag and drop or browse from your browser and grab that photo off your desktop, and you can still create your marketing pieces. All right, so that's your images tab. I'm going to come back to these. We have a text tab here, right? So this text tab is grabbing some text from my library. So it's grab my email address, it's grab my office address. So if I wanted to quickly add that to something, I could just click on that text there, and it would get added over here to the marketing piece, and I could drop it on somewhere. Again, so that's just again a quick little library text line. That's how the library works with text. All right, so I'm going to delete that. Company text. All right, so there's some ownership statements here. Every office is owned and operated. The banners tab is the most important one here, though. So if you click on banners, just like in Canva, these are all the different types of text that you can use on this marketing piece, right? So maybe instead of it just saying for sale, maybe I like to jazz it up a little bit, and I could go over here and I could click on something like maybe this one, right? And I could click on this text, see how it's all outlined, and I could go ahead and I could grab this graphic and I can move it over here to the white section. Oh, see, I grabbed the photo behind it. Let's see if we can change that. Let's click off the photo. Move the photo up, move that. Get it in the right spot. All right. Now I got this, grab the graphic. Let's pull the graphic over. All right, so I'm going to pull this graphic in. So this is what I'm saying. You just gotta work it a little bit until you can kind of figure out how to move some of these different things around. All right, so there's the graphic I was trying to pull over. Now let's go back. I'm gonna pull the picture back to where it's supposed to be. Okay. So now I come over here and I can edit this graphic that we just came in and brought in. Right. So this could say for sale. Right. But I like these little lines. You can change all the colors. Right. And you can change some of the different text that's in here as well. Right. Change the size of the font. So that's how you use the different text that's in here. Right. Next one down is going to be different icons. Same thing, there's a stock library of some different icons. There's some logos and graphics from some of the different social media, right? So if I came in here and I wanted to use a little Facebook graphic, again, I could just click on the little Facebook graphic and it would go ahead and bring it in, right? Now I could drag and drop that somewhere onto my my marketing material. I can minimize that, right? I can bring it down here. Okay, so lots of different things that you can do with these different icons and texts. You just got to play with that just a little bit, right? Logos. So here you can see my library, and I have 3 logos in here, okay? And right here it says KW DBA name, Keller Williams. So I can click on this and actually delete out this logo. Right now it's not auto-populating the logo. It will at some point. So right now what you have to do is you just come in here and you're just going to delete out this DBA logo. It's kind of just a placeholder. And once you upload your logos, right, for your office or for your team into your library, now I can quickly click on that logo, and now I have it on my marketing piece. I can drag and drop it. I can shrink it down a little bit. Right now, boom. Now there it is, customized for my market center. Okay, so that's logos down there at the bottom. Now, the last little button down here is KWLS. So remember, we selected a listing. We selected 404 Dale Road. Okay, I hope everyone remembers that. So now that I selected that, when I click on KWLS, here's all the photos. They're automatically here being pulled in from the MLS. Now check this out. All you have to do, because the image is already here, is you're just going to click on the picture and drag and drop it over into the marketing material. Okay, see how I just did that? So I look and I go, oh, I don't like that, right? This is an investment property that I have. Let me, this has been fully gutted, but instead of that, let's just do a picture of the backyard, right? Let's just pull and drag and drop the picture of the backyard over into the marketing piece there. All right, so that's kind of a really cool feature of the listing photos. Next to the photos button, there's a listing details page. And this is where there are some different categories or, property address. If I wanted to, I could quickly add 404 Dale Road as a text line. Here you see it comes, dragging in, and I can bring it over and use that somewhere. So that's what that's for. All right, so eventually these will autofill. So where it says 000 street name, it would autofill and say 404 Dale Road. Okay, I could come down here, and right now what I have to do, just a little bit of an extra step, but not the end of the world. Come down here, highlight that text, and I'll type in 404 Dale Road. Right. So that's these 5 little tabs over here and how those work. All right, so 404 Dale Road. Let's go ahead and center that up. All right, and then we got our little graphic there. So let's delete that little Facebook here. Okay. And the last thing I want to show you is on this KWLS tab, if I were to go back, right? So it automatically defaults to listing. Now, if you didn't select a listing on that front end, on that first page where you could select a listing, you can actually go in here and type in, right, an address, and you can find a different listing, right? So there's different, we can actually find a listing here as a second way to find a listing. There's another tab up here that's called snapshots that some people are missing. What snapshots are, and these are new and they're getting better. What they are is you can actually search for a neighborhood. All right, so for instance, let me search for a neighborhood called Hillendale. And the more specific you can be, the better. But if I come in here, so Hillendale Crane West is the neighborhood that this house is located in. Right, so what I can actually do, what these snapshots are, is think about when you create a little market snapshot for a neighborhood or for a farm, right? How many properties are for sale? How many total active listings are in there? So what I can do is the AI is going in and reading all of the stats and actually creating one of those for me in real time. So if I click on Hillendale Crane West and I select this little market snapshot, this is actual real data. So average listing price is $467 in this neighborhood, sold price is $420. There are 2 active listings here, right? Days on market, average square, all that information is correct. So I now have this just as a little graphic that if I wanted to, I could use on my marketing piece, right? So if I wanted to shrink this down a little bit and give somebody some more value add on my marketing piece here, they could see some market stats about this listing, and it didn't take me any work or effort to go compile those different stats, right? So I can pull that onto my page, maybe like make it a little bit bigger. So this is a great feature that some people are missing. So again, it's under the KWLS tab. It defaults to listing, but I want you to go play with this little snapshots right here and check that out and see how kind of cool that is. This is great for door hangers. Think about for open house postcards, right? If you're trying to meet some neighbors and you can give them some market information and you don't have to calculate this, I mean, there's not much better than that. So depending on how big your neighborhood is, that's what this depends on. Remember, these neighborhoods are being pulled from next door, all right? So those are your 5 little sections right over there, starting with images, all right? Now, the last thing I want to show you is up top here, if I click off of all the different graphics, I have drawing, shapes, frames, and text, right? If I'm clicked on a marketing piece, that actually defaults to, the text color or the script or the font. So right here, I'm clicked on schedule to view. So now I can come up here and I can change the font of schedule to view, right? I can change that font. I can change the size of the font. I can change the opacity of the picture. I can make it bold if I want to. If I click off of that text box, I get these 4 right here. So drawing, shapes, frames, and text. So I can use this right here. If I want to delete this text box here, I want to pull something different in, I click text. I can just bring in a title line. Right there it is right there. And say, hey, let's pull this thing over, and we're going to change this text, right? So this could be just listed. Right? And I can now format this text box a little bit. I can grab it up here, move it up into position. So I can do a whole bunch of things. All right, so let's move this up here. Make it a little bit smaller. And over here, just listed. So right now, just like in Word, right, it's defaulting to be on the left side of the margin. So I can double click on this, just like anywhere else. I can highlight that text, and now I've got a spacing text alignment button up here. Or I could say, hey, let's make that in the middle, right? And it goes ahead and centers that text, right? And now I can move this box around, and you can see once I get square in the middle of this white space, I get a little line there that shows me that I'm perfectly aligned. All right, so I can move 404 Dale Road over, right? And once 404 Dale Road, same thing. I can highlight 404 Dale Road and make this centered. So just get used to these little boxes up here. There's lots of different things you can do, custom formatting, those types of things. Okay, so you guys get the point of that. Last one up here. This one's kind of cool. Some people are missing this. So up here, there's also these frames. These are picture frames. So you see them here. They're kind of like image placeholders. So one of the things I'm missing on here is maybe my headshot. So I want to put my headshot on here. Well, I could go in here and just say, hey, I like the look of this little frame right here. So I could select that little placeholder, right? Shrink it down a little bit, move this little placeholder right here. And just like this, now what I can do is I can come back over here to my image tab. Remember, I can go to my library. I've already brought my headshot in. And now all I have to do is just drag and drop my headshot and drop it right into that little frame right there. All right. Now, again, if I click on this image, you're going to see up top here, I have a couple different options because I have a blue background. Okay. So I can actually change the color of that. If I wanted to, I could say, hey, I want it to be yellow, or I want it to be light blue, or I want it to be red, right, to match everything else. So that's where you do that. And I can minimize that frame, do stuff like that. Okay. So just get in here, play with this customization just a little bit. Remember, this is a Facebook graphic, right? So, so the last step is once you create your marketing piece and you have all the information in here that you want to have, over on the top right-hand corner, you have a download button. And if you click this download button, right, you have a few options. So it says get a JPEG, get a PNG, get a PDF, what's your quality, and then you can go ahead and download it, right? So for Facebook, if you're going to upload this onto your timeline, they require it to be a picture file. And so with that picture file, you'll want to have either a PDF or a JPEG, all right? And you can obviously scroll this up, get the highest quality photo that you can get, right? So then I can go ahead and say, all right, let's go ahead and start download, and it'll go ahead and download this marketing piece for me, right? So the other thing I want to show you why that downloads here is next to the download button, there's also a share button. Let's go ahead and open this up. So I think you guys can see this, hopefully. But I just opened up that download button and it just shows you a little file here, a picture file of what this marketing piece would look like. All right. So back to here real quick on my screen. So the share button, just want to point this out. There is a share button. You can have a Facebook, LinkedIn, or Twitter. I do want to suggest not doing this. The reason why is if you click share here, it's actually the company We brand that we built this product with. It's them posting it on your Facebook for you, and it's a link to the picture. So it looks like it's going to take someone to a website or a much more robust place to look at photos of that listing or more information, and it actually just pulls up this photo in a different web browser. So I'm going to suggest don't use the share button here. Go over here and just use this download button and download your JPEGs or your PNGs and upload over to Facebook. Okay. So let's go ahead and stop there. That's the social media graphic. This was Facebook. You could do the same with Instagram or LinkedIn or anything else. Any questions, any comments, concerns on this aspect of actually creating the piece and customizing the piece to your needs? Organizers, any questions there we should hit? I don't see it in the chat box, so okay, let's just keep rolling. All right, so that's your social media side. So I'm going to go up here. I can name it, right? It's the other box up here I can do, and then I can click on done, right? Once I click on done, now it's going to show up back underneath of the design section where we first started. Everybody remembers I said, hey, you're going to have some designs over here. So once I create that marketing piece, now I'll see it right here in my design section. I can quickly recall it, continue editing on it. One thing people have asking for, you can't duplicate it right now. All right, so we are trying to make it so that it's almost like a save as, where I can duplicate this template, update it with my new listing, maybe update the snap over here, but keep this copy. You can't currently do that. So what agents are doing is if they want to recreate it, they're just using this, replacing the information, but just realize that you are losing the first copy that you did create. All right, let's look at a few other things here. Plus button, let's look at it again real fast. So plus button, remember, clicked on social. There is a print side. So if I go to print, I can click on create design. It's going to look very similar. All right, so it's going to look very similar to the other library for all the social media aspects of it. But what you're going to notice is, when I go to like for sale, now instead of Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, it says door hangers, flyers, standard postcards, and trifold letters. All right, so same thing here. So let's say just listed, you have door hangers, you do have a flyer. All right, so here's a couple different flyers here, trifold letter, some postcards, standard postcards, right? And so the social only has one side. The postcards have two sides. So I could select this one here and say, go ahead, let's go ahead and use this postcard if I wanted to create this print material. And at the bottom of the editing screen, something we didn't see on the social side, you'll actually see a side 1 and a side 2. So you're just going to want to make sure you go through and you actually complete that side 1 and that side 2. The editing is the same as it was on the social side. So you can bring in pictures, you can bring in photos from the KWLS, same thing, all of your logos, your graphics, your images will all stay here, and I can easily pull them over again once I create that and finish out that library section. Okay, so down here at the bottom, you can see it says pages, page 1 and page 2. Right, so here's some information. I could obviously change all this text on here if I wanted to. If I wanted to change this photo, remember I can come over here to KWLS. Now remember, I didn't select a listing, so that's why nothing's auto appearing here, but I can come in here and I can search for that listing in this section if I wanted to. So let's say Hill Road, Maryland, do a quick search, see if I can find it. Scroll down a little bit, there it is right there. Now I click select, and now here's all the photos. All right, so if I go back, let's actually just select the different listings I can show you. So again, this is in Lancaster, PA, so not my listing, but same thing, all the photos are here. I can use them. Now I can just drag and drop that photo and bring it over to the different material, right? And I can adjust this photo if I wanted to. I can double click on it, adjust where it's going to be on the page here. And then once I'm happy, okay, so you guys can see that, all right, I can move it around a little bit, say done, all right? Same thing, text. And then once I'm done, I can go up here and click download. All right, now for the print materials, you're going to want to download the PDF. All right, so just remember, if you're going to send this out to a printer or print it at your office for property flyers, those types of things, instead of being a JPEG or a PNG, these two are different photo files. You're going to want to make sure you click on Get PDF. When you're doing this, I also want to show you there's an extra step here. Under this Publish Settings button, click on Use Manual Bleed. Right, what this allows it to do is it creates a little bleed section here that is on the postcard for your printer. So use manual bleed. Now you can go ahead and click on Start Download, and then you can send that graphic over to your printer. Right, so that's side 1. I can click on down here, click on side 2, and it'll open up and it'll allow me to now edit the second side. Right, so recipient name, recipient address. So in here, right, all I have to do is come in and double click, and I can type in my name if I wanted to. Right, and just replace this. So I'll come in here and say Kyle Holloran. All right, and I'm gonna edit this stuff right here as well. This right here is a photo frame, right, where they have the current headshot. So all I have to do is go up here to my images section. Under my library, there's my headshot, and all I have to do is just drag and drop it, and just gonna drop it right in that box and replace it. See how easy that is? So this really takes out a lot of the design work if you're not a great designer. KW is already designing these things for us, and we're just gonna go in here and just customize them. All right, same thing down here. I got a logo. I can come in, I could delete out that logo if I wanted to. All right, so I come down here and say DBA logo, just delete that. All right. So that's what you're gonna do. Then go ahead and click done or back, whatever it's gonna be. All right, so cancel. All right, so that's your print side, that's your social side. Now the last thing I want to print out or show real fast is, let me go back to the library. I just want to make sure everyone understands that these are not just materials for marketing property. They're not just listed, just sold. They have a lot of other things in here. So they have things for Facebook cover photos on the print side. They have business cards. So I'll show you. So let's go back into print. They have business cards. They have client appreciation event invitations. So make sure everyone knows it's not just, they have letterhead in here. All right. So at the mastermind, we had showed Samer, one of the agents, had showed how he uses this to create, custom net sheets, right? And he created a custom net sheet on this letterhead here and put his logo on there, and it lives within this little section here, right? So event invitations, there are thank you cards, right, and postcards. There are home value postcards, your door hangers, right? So they're specific. What's your home worth? So just remember, you can just go in here and just create a few of these things and then move on to the next, right? Open house, price update, flyers, letterhead, standard postcards, okay? Also, on the print side, there is a listing presentation in here. So they're 27 pages long. You can go and click on use here and you can actually go in and you can create your listing presentation. You can now delete out pages. You don't have to use all 27 pages, but just keep that in mind, right? Great listing presentation in here if you wanted to spice yours up. Even if you wanted to go in and use just a certain few pages, you know, you go in there and take maybe 3 or 4 pages out of this listing presentation and add it to what you're currently using and maybe up your value just a little bit there, okay? On the social side, again, you're gonna see things like email signatures, digital event invitations for your clients, different things like that. So just keep that in mind. Just get in here and play with designs just a little bit. All right, now inside of command, let me go back to command. There's a few places coming where we will be able to use these designs. In the campaigns section of command, we can either come right in here and we could actually use if we wanted to. So again, campaigns, little megaphone icon here. And in campaigns, we can do a few things if you haven't been in here. We can either schedule social media posts on our Facebook or other social media networks. In addition to that, we could also have you could also have hope we're still live here. I'm hearing that the internet might be down just a little bit, so we'll see what happens. So anyway, when you come in here, you have a couple options. You can do social media posts, either paid ads or organic posting here, or in addition to that, you can also have you can also do some direct mail. So you go to create new campaign, and you can say, hey, I want to do a direct mail campaign, and you can actually upload a design right here. Okay, so something that you've already created, you can upload that design. So you can actually stay inside of command and do all your social media and your print marketing right from here. Okay. Anyway, so I hope that was helpful. This session says that it is being recorded, so I've heard that I might have lost internet. So I'm going to hop off here. Hopefully it has been recorded, and that gives you a good idea about how everything's working. Okay. Thanks, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Hello.
Hey, what's going on?